Giants versus the Charlestown Chiefs. Brought to you by Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, make your next move a power play with Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. First responders, veterans, doctors, nurses, teachers, and yes, Let's Go Blues Radio listeners get special rates. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com and score big today.
60 Pickleball is an industry leader in high-end pickleball paddles. Use discount code CPRICE10 to get 10% off at 60pickleball.com. Don't get stuck on the court with an inferior paddle. Go next level with 60.
Have you subscribed to the LGB Minute podcast yet? It's a 5-minute weekly St. Louis Blues podcast hosted by Jeff Ponder that is released multiple times a week to fill the gap between Let's Go Blues Radio episodes. Subscribe today.
So awesome, so handsome, so smart, you'll agree. Kurt, Jeff, and Bill are on TV. It's radio on TV. Oh yeah, it's radio on TV.
And I'm not prepared. I am now from St. Louis. I am Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by goalie extraordinaire Bill Day. Kurt Price is facing allegations for his involvement with the ice raids in Chicago. We're bringing you the often imitated, never duplicated, the second most liberal show behind Jimmy Kimmel, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. This is the second episode of season 15 and the 530th episode of all time. The Let's Go Blues Minute is back this season, so find it wherever you get podcasts. It provides you with a daily look into the St. Louis Blues in a quick hit fashion. It is Wednesday, October 8th, and we're coming to you live. Tonight, we talk about the Blues finalizing their 23-man roster, signing a new goalie for their AHL squad in Springfield, the franchise losing potential stud in net, all that and more on this punchy episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Bill is feverishly typing away. I think he's responding to Matt Harris in the chat. Yes, he is. And yeah, good to have you back, Bill. We're on you still got your goaltender placeholder, I guess, there on your
you said extraordinaire. I have goaltender placeholder. And
like
until I get back on the ice and get a win, I'm just a placeholder.
You are you're okay. How about this? You are the official goaltender. You're the starting goaltender of Let's Go Blues Radio.
That's first.
There you go. I'm the star defenseman, and Kurt's the star forward. That goes to show how good our hockey talent is.
Yeah, we should do one of those 3-on-3 shinny tournaments that I think some of them have goalies. Most of them don't, but
yeah,
that would be fun.
You could be a makeshift goalie. That would be fun. I'd love to do something like that. Or it'd be fun to like just do like a stupid roller hockey. We talked about doing street hockey before, like having some kind of tournament where, you know, it's us and then maybe we pick up a couple listeners and, you know, we just go out and have a fun little street hockey tournament. I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah, I liked, at one point we, I think it was 2 guys, 1 cup, no cup. We got 1 cup though, so they had to change it, right?
Yeah,
we were talking about that, right? Just getting finding an empty parking lot somewhere and having a round robin little tournament 3-on-3. I actually went as far as to buy the blade protectors for street hockey. So,
yeah, those are cool.
I'm ready to go.
I'd love to do it. I tell you what, and we when we had oh my goodness, actually I think it was Dave Bedini for the Summit 72 series when we had him on this summer. We were talking about how, like, hockey players up north, they always talk about going back to your roots and playing pond hockey, and it's like, yes, don't get me wrong, I love playing pond hockey. Every chance I get to do it, I do. But for us, that's not really our roots. For me, my roots is street hockey. That's what I grew up playing. All summer long, my friends and I would get together and get a game, and we would just play street hockey until the sun went down. Like that was my roots for hockey. So for doing something like that, if it's, we were able to get a street hockey game together, that would be so much fun.
Oh yeah, that was my summers, right? We yeah, not a lot of ice in the summer down here, but yeah, get the kids in the neighborhood together and just play 7 straight hours of street hockey. We had a kid in our neighborhood that had 100-foot long asphalt driveway.
Nice.
And yeah, that was just awesome until we got too big and started breaking the garage door.
Yes, yeah, I did. My dad, oh my goodness. So we had those old school garage doors that had the windows at the very top. I must have busted out those windows at least 5 or 6 times, just, getting a hold of a slap shot and it just sailing high and oops, and then running to my friend's house and being like, I'm going to wait it out until my dad calls me to come home. So maybe by the time I get home, he won't be as mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, and it's funny, your goalie counterpart on the Force, as you are our backup again this coming season, Cortland Frost. He was a guy that I grew up playing street hockey with. We played off, for those of you in St. Charles, Cambridge Crossing, off Dingledine Road. There was a court there that we played at. There was only about 6 houses on the entire block, so we would just go there all day. And every now and then you'd still have the car. Game on. But for the most part, it was flat and we just play. I remember one time we had so many people show up. We actually had subs. We had 7 players per side and we were playing 4-on-4. And so we had 3 subs on each side. And I think that game literally went on for about 5 hours. Like you could not pull us off until the sun came down.
Yeah, those were the days. And actually, I think the first time I met Kurt Price, just to put a ribbon on this, was I got introduced to the game he played in, which was on the tennis courts in Smithton Park.
Nice.
And yeah, so met a whole bunch of my longtime hockey buddies at that point. So
for those of you in St. Charles, that's where I grew up. Laurel Park was the hot spot to go for street hockey. So yeah, we always used to go there. It's off Jungerman Road, and yeah, I remember just so many times just pulling up and just seeing like all these other people outside, and they're all playing. Kids of all ages, adults, and we would just go out there and just skate for hours and just have a good time. So miss those days. It feels a lot weirder. Like during COVID, I'll admit I did go out and play some street hockey by myself. And it did feel odd to be back out on the street and just being like, this is the only hockey I can get. I know I look like a weird adult, but I don't care. Like I got to skate. It's my best exercise.
Yeah, I considered buying a net just to go shoot, but
I
never
still
did.
So when we moved into this house, excuse me, when we moved into this house, I did have 3 nets. And one was like an NHL regulation one. And I thought, you know what? I'm never going to need this. I ended up selling it, but I still have the other 2 nets because I'm like, you never know if I'm going to need to play some street hockey and we need to have 2 nets. And I'm just like, I have not had an actual street hockey game, or that's been the case since I was probably 16 years old. So it's like, I'm just holding out hope that one day it's going to happen.
We'll have to make it happen.
I told you something we need to do. You've got the Steen jersey. I've got the Quick jersey. We need to relive that moment where he steals the puck and scores. And I think that would be so much fun to do.
Yeah, totally.
Especially if I'm the goalie and you're the skater.
Yeah, I can pull off a lefty, I think.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. We can do it. We should just do both and see which one turns out better. Or like, if you ever watch It's Always Sunny, they remake, they make Lethal Weapon, I guess it's Lethal Weapon 5. And in the middle of the movie, they change characters. So like one of the main characters is Murtaugh, the other one's Riggs. And then they like switch halfway through because they both wanted to play Murtaugh. So maybe we can do the same thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
total sense to me.
let's see. We've got Trees in the chat. I like Jeff keeping nets in case he has a random encounter, like he's playing Skyrim and people stumble by. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the dream. But again, I mean, I can't think of any other adults that'll just be like, hey, there's a guy playing street hockey. I'm going to go get my stuff and join him. Like, that's just not going to happen. We got Joe Schmo in the chat. I'm there with Larry Onoff like speed in the hands of Philippe Bozon. Okay, so skate like the wind and not able to control the puck. Got it. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, we got some interesting ones here. We've got Trees, Untold, Until Told Otherwise. I'm the official Zamboni driver and emergency goalie. Matt Harris, I'll be the official drunk fan. And Trees responds, I think that's Brett Hall. Yeah, I think he's got that taken from him. He's at least everyone's favorite drunk uncle. I think we can all agree with that. Well, as I said, Bill, the Let's Go Blues Minute is back. We actually just kicked off. Well, I kicked off season 2 about a month ago, just kind of previewing all the stuff that I was doing over the summer, but officially kicking off and like actually having shows started today. So if you are interested in checking out the Let's Go Blues Minute, go to your favorite podcasting app and make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you will be notified when there is a show. I typically do 2 to 4 shows a week, and they're all released in the morning typically. Actually, yeah, every show is released in the morning, and it just gives you a quick recap of what to expect for the day from the Blues, and maybe just recapping what happened the day before. So we are going strong again. I'm very excited to keep that going because that has been a fun show to do. And again, it's kind of like with Let's Go Blues Radio. And Bill, I know you were there for a little bit. Kind of just reliving the starting a podcast and just seeing it grow. We're at a point now with Let's Go Blues Radio where we're not growing a ton because, you know, it's been 530 episodes, but you know, we're still in its infancy in Let's Go Blues Minutes. So it's been kind of fun seeing how every show builds on itself. And it's just like, all right, let's keep this momentum going.
We're mature is what I think you're trying to say.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, 100%. Yes. If there's anything that describes us, it is the word mature. Let me tell you. So beers of the episode. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. I am at jponder94. Kurt is at cprice12. Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. I will kick us off. I am drinking another one of my favorites. This is the Breckenridge Oktoberfest. And that's a beautiful, beautiful backdrop on that picture. The mountains. Breckenridge is in Colorado, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Where exactly at in Colorado? I'm trying to look for it.
Breckenridge.
Oh, well, it says Littleton, Colorado. But yeah, Breckenridge is a town too, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And then Divide by Zero asks us about Milan Lucic. You just hold your horses, sir. We are getting there. All right.
You have to waste your time first.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we do here. Waste time. Waste time. Let's go Blues and be mature. Bill, I know you're not drinking beer still. You're looking slim. So what are you drinking here tonight?
It kind of looks like beer, but
a little bit like a cider type.
Yeah, but it's not. It's cherry 7-Up. So I needed something that wasn't water tonight, and this will have to do. So
all right.
Soon enough. I'm not swearing off alcohol forever. It's just a temporary thing. Soon enough, I'll be back in the beers.
Hey, I told you that I've actually, in the last month or so, I've cut back on alcohol and almost completely cut out soda, and I've dropped weight like nothing. And like my endurance on the rink, holy cow. There's been a couple times where I'll go out there and I'll skate, I'll get stuck out there 5-6 minutes. And, that's a long shift even for roller hockey when I play that. And I'll get stuck out there and I'm like, I'll come to the bench and I'm like, man, if this was 3 months ago, I'd be dying on the bench. Like, please take a long shift, guys, because I'm dead. Like, I come back to the bench and I'm like, 30 seconds, I'll be fine. So, yeah, it's crazy how cutting back on the luxuries of life in terms of drinking beverages, how much that helps you just kind of have more endurance and be able to get through the day.
Yeah, my runs have been a whole lot more productive over the last week. So had a really nice, beautiful autumn day here in St. Louis. Finally, right? We finally got it, and I got a few miles on the trail here today, and had to wear gloves. It was so chilly when I got out there. It was under 50. But
What time
very
did you go out tonight?
it was this morning.
Oh, this morning.
Yeah, about 6:45.
Okay.
So it's
I'll say I went in the afternoon today and ran, and it was perfect
Yeah.
running weather.
yeah.
Side note for anyone else who runs or wants to take up running, I once had somebody tell me, like a guy who runs like marathons and stuff. He once told me that apparently 60 degrees is considered the perfect running weather.
Mhm.
And once you get up into about 67, every degree makes it like 5% harder to run in and be able to maintain your endurance. So like he's like, think about that when you're at 90 degrees, it's 90% harder ish, than when it's 60. And it's the same thing going the other way. It's like 52 and below, it becomes like 5% harder to run in because your breathing gets messed up. So it's very interesting, the running mentality. But yeah, today was perfect. I think it was like 62 when I went out and ran at lunchtime, and it was beautiful. I'm like, man, I wish I had more endurance to go longer. I'm just getting back into running, so taking my time getting back into that.
Yeah.
How far did you go?
Just right at 3 miles. So not terrible, but enough that I could comfortably do a 5K at this point.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's my goal. Is I have taken pretty much the entire year off from running, and last year, so my nephew started running. Is he doing cross country? Yeah, he does cross country now, and he beat me in the turkey trot last year, and he has been talking smack all year. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna take it seriously this time because I didn't train at all last time. I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll go run a 5K. And this year, I'm like, okay, I got to beat his ass. So
Yeah.
I'm going to actually give it the old college try to get on top of him this time. That sounded bad. Let's move on. Milan Lucic apparently was injured in the preseason. He is going to rehab with the Blues, and then they will, quote, reconnect. Doug Armstrong said about Lucic's training camp PTO as they have announced the 23-man roster for opening night tomorrow night, which we'll get to after our commercial break. He said, quote, he got banged up the last couple of preseason games. We're going to rehab him here, get him back up health-wise to 100%, and likely reconnect on an in-season PTO to get him up and running and see where he's at then. So the door has not been shut on Milan Lucic joining the Blues. It's just a matter of, from what I saw, and I will admit, I was shocked. I loved the way Milan Lucic looked. Seeing him at training camp, seeing him in the few preseason games I watched, including the one I was at against Dallas, I thought he looked great. Just skating better than I've seen him skate in a while. Definitely still looks like a hunchback out there, but just a guy that's willing to throw his body and get in front of the net. And I am just so shocked at how well Lucic has looked. So for me, I'm just like, it makes sense. Like if you want to get him back out there for practice, see what you got in him, and maybe you consider bringing him back. But, I think at the very least, we will see Milan Lucic skate probably one more season in the NHL, whether it's with the Blues or somebody else.
Yeah, he's at least going to get 5 games with the Blues.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll see. But yeah, so we will talk more about the official 23-man roster coming up. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Blues losing a goalie, and then other things going on around the NHL, and even some new stuff that's going to be happening at Enterprise Center this season if you attend a game. So we will be right back after this commercial break. Do not go anywhere.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every hockey team needs that clutch player who knows when to pass, when to shoot, and when to take charge. In real estate, that superstar is Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. Whether you're buying your first home or selling your current one, Mike skates circles around the competition with his knowledge, hustle, and down-to-earth approach. And here's the real zone ability. If you're a first responder, veteran, doctor, nurse, teacher, or even just a loyal Let's Go Blues radio listener, you'll score special rates when you work with Mike. Got questions? Fire them at him. He'll answer quicker than Bill Day's glove hand. Obstacles in your way? He'll plow through them harder than I would in a goalmouth scramble. And when it comes time to close, he'll put it in the back of the net faster than a Kurt Price shot from the slot. So don't just settle for an ordinary realtor. Get the MVP on your side. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today. Mike Burgoyne, the real estate teammate you can always count on.
The battle for the top spot in the league is on the line. Many warriors have entered the concrete jungle, but when the smoke clears, only one will remain. They all want it, but only one shall have it. Hide your children, lock your doors. Those with weak stomachs should almost certainly look away. This is Big Boy Pickleball. You have been warned.
Already know that you love hockey and you obviously already love the Let's Go Blues Radio podcast, but what about filling the gap between weekly Let's Go Blues Radio episodes? That's where the LGB Minute comes in. Hosted by Jeff Ponder, the LGB Minute is an entertaining, down and dirty, 5-minute St. Louis Blues podcast released multiple times a week to keep you informed of all things St. Louis Blues. So make sure to subscribe to the LGB Minute anywhere you listen to podcasts, like right now. Do it now. Just click subscribe. It's easy. Please. Now.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Well, we come back. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the pickleball commercial so much, especially the parts where it looks like Kurt's trying to kill somebody.
Yes.
That's just, I love that.
I was going to comment on that too. I will say, I'll give Kurt credit because I remember the first 2 times I saw it, I'm like, all he's doing is showing his own highlights. But then I realized there are a couple in there where he's getting beat. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give him a little bit of credit for that because at least he's not saying, look at me, I'm the greatest pickleball player ever.
He's throwing some humility in there.
Yeah, a little bit, which, we all know Kurt, not a lot of humility in that man. So good to see it come out in a commercial. But I'll also ask, why is it called 6-0 pickleball? I never asked Kurt that. Is that like an important score in pickleball or something?
No. I think I don't know. I want to say he explained it one time, and it's just the name of the company.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
there's no significance to it.
Maybe it's like 2 guys named like Mike 6 and John 0 making it. I don't know. Maybe. Very odd. Well, whatever.
He'll explain it when he's past the allegations.
Yes, yeah. And I will say there is a chance Kurt does join us tonight. He's apparently got a very big pickleball tournament this weekend. So I think he said he had like ladder stages tonight or something. So he was going to be joining us possibly later. So we will see. But right now you are stuck with just Bill and I. Matt Harris in the chat said Zach Bolduc scored for the Habs. That's the kind of player I'd like to see the Blues trade for. You troll, you.
Yeah, so that was a of course, me being the Habs fan, that was a game that I was prepped for, ready to sit and watch tonight, and it was a beautiful thing. Um, to start the game. At the end of the day, I'm happy because I had so many people on my fantasy team, including Toronto starting goalie. It worked out for me, but Bolduc looked great. I was worried when he got traded that the pressure of playing in the home, for the home province was, that eats a lot of French Canadian kids up. He looked just as good as he did last year here. And yeah, looked really good on the line with Kirby Doc and
Brendan Gallagher.
Said that earlier. It's already escaping my
Yeah,
mind. But
I will say I did
great.
not watch that game. Bill Day is the one who told me Brendan Gallagher was on his line. So.
Yeah, and I could remember it 20 minutes later. So this may be my last season of Let's Go Blues Radio because my mind is going.
Right. So no, I will say that, Bill, I did appreciate what you said before the show started when we were talking about this, and you said, I hope this turns out to be a win-win for both teams. And I don't think you're saying that just because you're a Blues and Habs fan. I think it's because literally it's like we saw Bolduc play great last year. The Blues sold kind of high on him, and they're getting a guy back that, was maligned for a little while in Mayu, and now he's coming down to St. Louis, kind of a fresh start, and a guy that really has the potentials at the ceiling. This kid could be a big deal. So in terms of just kind of rooting for the youth of the NHL, having a win-win for both teams is like, that would be great for the game itself, I think.
Yeah. The fact that Mayu's making the opening night roster, and, Channel 5 is doing packages on him before the season starts, right? He and Tucker are going to be paired together, and that's something that Frank Cusmano can talk about. That bodes well for the early stages of it. But yeah, I think Armstrong was so excited to be able to make that trade. You could tell, like, he'd been tracking him and tracking him and tracking him. And yeah, I mean, it's the greedy part of me as a Blues and Habs fan wants to work out that way. But I always love it when a hockey trade, because that's what, we always hear that term, right? A hockey trade, right? When it works out for both teams. And I think this has the makings of a great one.
Our friend Justin Scott checking in. He says it was a hockey trade. Both teams can win. Yeah, I mean, that's right there. Again, like, when you're making a trade, to this day, if the Blues make a trade with the Red Wings, I'm like, oh, I hope this is a one-sided trade. I hope the Blues, come out heads over tails on this. But for this type of trade, again, I like Bolduc. I want to see him succeed in the NHL, and obviously the Blues are my team, so really rooting for Mayu. And from what I've heard, and we talked about this, I think, last week when we had Rutherford on 2 weeks ago, he basically said, like, the Blues are just giving the reins to Mayu. Like, they're just going to let him fly and see what he does. We're just going to let him play. Things don't work out. You can send him down to the AHL, but, to start the year, I'm all for it. Just saying, hey, he messes up, give him, get him right back out there. See what he does. See how he reacts. If it becomes a detriment to the team, we'll do something about it. But I'm all for that. Let the kid shine. Let's see what he can do at the NHL level in a new market. And I just really think that this kid could shine. I'm not saying that this year will be a breakout year for him, but I do think that this is a kid that has a very bright future in the NHL. So speaking of defensemen, making the roster, Hunter Skinner was the last player cut from the 23-man roster. Little bit of a shock, really, because not that he isn't a decent prospect for the Blues, but there was a lot of names. And I said last week, I thought Leo Loof was going to be a guy that could sneakily make this team. But yeah, Hunter Skinner outlasted him. He and one other guy who we'll talk about in a minute were the last cuts from the roster in the preseason. He played in 3 games, 1 assist, and averaged 17:28 of ice time. He was, by the way, if you kind of recall that name, you don't pay attention to preseason. It's because he was originally acquired in the Tarasenko trade with the Rangers. He came with Sammy Blais and draft picks in that trade. And yeah, he's 24, 6'3", 195. I feel like with how many looks we got from him, and again, I saw him play live against Dallas, and I thought he played very well. Big kid, not willing or totally willing to go into the corners and fight for pucks and hit anyone. It doesn't matter how long that guy's been in the league. He is going to hit you. I do think that's a kid we may see up getting a look in the NHL if things start going sour on the defense or if there's an injury. So we'll next guy that was unfortunately sent down to the AHL. He had to clear waivers, and he did not. That was Colten Ellis. He was picked up by the Buffalo Sabres, and Buffalo, they are. I remember a couple of years ago when the Blues, it would seem like every preseason game or every day at training camp, there was a new injury. This was, probably 15 years ago. That's what Buffalo is going through right now. Their starting goalie, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, defenseman Michael Kesselring, and Owen Power, as well as winger Jordan Greenway, who Blues fans are very familiar with, are all starting the season on injured reserve. Defenseman Matthias Samuelsson is still working his way back from an injury as well. So they have got a lot of holes to try and plug. And I will say, too, that so they picked up Colten Ellis and his entire contract on waivers. Lindy Ruff is the head coach. He did say something on the lane around because they had Alexander Georgiev on this team. He went through waivers today. And it's because he says the Sabres felt strongly about adding Colten Ellis. So when this kind of happened, Bill, I know you and I, I think we kind of talked a little bit privately. Maybe that was with Kurt. I don't remember. But we thought maybe, okay, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, maybe he, comes back. And then you have to send down a goalie, probably Ellis. Maybe the Blues bring him back on waivers, because he has to be up with the Buffalo Sabres as long as, without passing through waivers again. So we kind of thought maybe that happens. It sounds like they want to give Ellis a shot. And I think anyone who saw him play last year totally understands that, because he was phenomenal in Springfield last year.
Yeah, I think, the comment that I made in our group Slack was that Buffalo's really where goalies have gone to die.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this a little bit. Because that used to be the Blues, right? The Blues were where goalies went to die. And maybe we did the swap karma thing in the Ryan Miller trade.
Yeah, there you go.
And we finally got that one goalie to pan out and win us a cup. But yeah, I was shocked. I was on the golf course when you texted this. And I was like, what? And that was my initial thought was, okay, Luukkonen's hurt. They're going to get him, and then they're going to put him back through waivers, and we're going to take him back. Right. But that doesn't sound like what it is. And I guess, has the shine worn off Devin Levi at this point? Because he was the guy, right? He was their franchise goalie of the future, and I guess he's just not progressing at the pro level. If they really are higher on Colten Ellis, but
I mean, how about that story? That would be if Colten Ellis comes out of nowhere and steals the starting job in Buffalo, as long as Luukkonen's out, and then all of a sudden Devin Levi is on the trade market. That would be crazy. I mean, who would have seen that coming?
Yeah. We were kind of talking about all the goalies during my fantasy draft, all the goalies that have to pass through waivers, and it wouldn't make sense for Ellis to be the guy that got picked, and he was. So
I was So when I realized he had to go through waivers, I don't want to say that I was shocked, because I would think that a team would be interested in at least giving him a little bit of a shot, even as a backup. But I don't know. Buffalo, they have they've been an interesting team to watch for the last, I'd say even at this point, 20 years. So I get why they want to take a chance on him, but I will say I was a little shocked that they put Georgiev on waivers, because they think they got something in Colten Ellis. Again, I think Ellis deserves that recognition, but Georgiev's a guy that's a name we all know. It's surprising to see that happen. So we'll see if Ellis gets a start here pretty quickly. I would think Devin Levi is probably your starter, right, until Luukkonen comes back. But if Ellis can step in and play well, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, that will be a good storyline for us to keep track of. And in honor of Colten Ellis, there will not be a save of the week this week, because I'm afraid I might have started a curse since I gave it to him last week.
Yep. Yeah, it is quite funny that you even said, when is the next chance we're going to get to use Colten Ellis in our save of the week? And apparently that answer is never, unless we become a Sabres podcast.
Nope. Never.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Nope. Give me about 30 other teams before that happens. So as I said, that Georgiev was on waivers today. Also placed on waivers today, Jeremy Davis, mentioned Georgiev, Ville Husso for Anaheim. This name, Juha Jaska, I'm going to guess that's how you say it, Carolina, and Kevin Rooney for Utah. And so I did see some people saying, do you take a chance on Ville Husso? And I'm like, no.
Been there, done that.
That ship has sailed. I mean, there were fans saying, oh, well, he could be your starter in the AHL. I'm like, well, what's the point? Like, don't you want a prospect getting starts in the AHL? I mean, we'll talk about in a minute here. The Blues did make a move in goaltending, but this is a guy that's kind of unknown. So I'm okay with them saying, hey, let's go get another guy to see what we can do. We know what Ville Husso is. And yeah, I mean, maybe there's the chance he resurrects his game and can come up to the NHL level. But then you're talking about what, trading Binnington or Hofer to make room for Husso? No, that's not going to happen.
No, I think the move that we'll talk about is just to now we kind of have to refill the cupboards in goaltending, right? I don't think Zherenko's the guy long term. Cranley's probably now our third best goalie in the organization, so you got to do something. But before we get there, you called out the Tarasenko trade earlier. And there was another piece of that trade that was claimed on waivers. I don't know if you saw that, but Sammy Blais has been reunited with Craig Berube in Toronto.
Whoa.
Montreal put him through waivers, and Berube snapped him up.
That had to be a Berube move, right?
100%.
That had to be Berube going, go ahead and pick him up. I know that I can insert this guy if I need to.
Yeah, I watched the pregame on the Toronto game tonight. It's like the entire staff was here in St. Louis at some point. They've got Mike Van Ryn. They've got Curtis Sanford, who, by the way, looks way too similar to Stephen Miller at this point. Curtis, get a toupee, please.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Berube, right? So it's kind of crazy, the connection there in Toronto. And it's like he really wants to rebuild that 2019 team.
So let's see. We've got Craig Berube, Derek Lalonde, Mark Savard, Mike Van Ryn, Curtis Sanford, Jordan Bean, and Sam Kim, all on the coaching staff. General manager, of course, Brad Tree Living. Trying to see if we're getting any. We got assistant. I forgot she was the assistant general manager, Dr. Haley Wickenheiser. So we've got a little bit of a Blues connection there. And then let's see, Curtis McElhaney is on their goaltending development and scouting So yeah, there's a couple different Blues connections in that Maple Leafs front office. So guess they're trying to I don't know, follow the Blues' lead of actually winning a cup for a franchise that has never been able to seem to grasp it, at least in the last 50 years. And we've got a good comment here from Matt Harris. Save of the week has been picked up off waivers by the Locked On Blues podcast. Yeah, our friend Haley is going to start doing save of the week on every show.
Well, I was going to say, I actually was going to make a more extensive joke about that, how terribly I failed at it last week, that it didn't make the team and got sent down in the minors and got claimed.
Yeah, yep, that's true. That's true. Told you should have went with the Binnington save from that same game.
Yeah, well, if there's a curse, he might be gone.
Yeah, I don't think they're putting Binnington through waivers. We'll see. Blues, they did, as we said, they did sign another goaltender, and I think you're exactly right. This is just a matter of making sure you get a guy who can get some AHL starts and not put all the pressure on your two prospects. I'm probably going to butcher this name, so Bill, help me out here. Georgi Romanov, I believe,
perfect.
is how you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with it. Georgi Romanov. He signed a 1-year, 2-way contract. He will report directly to the Blues AHL affiliate in Springfield. He's 25, spent the majority of last season with the San Jose Barracuda, posting an 11-6-3 record along with a .310 goals against average and a .905 save percentage in 21 regular season appearances. He's tallied a 3.53 goals against average and an .888 save percentage in 10 career NHL regular season games with the San Jose Sharks. I will say his numbers with the Barracuda were not awful. Not great, but not awful. His numbers in the AHL, not great. But keep in mind, he has been playing for the San Jose Sharks. So for me, I think this is a matter of, we know what we've got in Jurenko. We're still kind of learning things with Cranley. I think, my guess, and I could be wrong here, I could see them splitting time between Romanov and Jurenko at the AHL level. Mm-hmm. And that way, I think Cranley gets the number one job in the ECHL. And that way he plays all season. And then obviously injuries, he gets called up to the AHL. But I do think that they just want to make sure Cranley is getting as many starts as possible. If he's in the AHL, he's probably splitting time more. Yeah, that's my thought. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. The other thing I was going to say is I hope we didn't pull a Jeff Finger and accidentally select Georgi Romanov instead of Georgiev. That Georgi guy. Okay, we did. Oh, wrong guy.
I think I've told you guys, and I'm going to tell it again, so I apologize, about the time back when Ilya Kovalchuk was like clear-cut, like the best player in the NHL, like 06, 07-ish, when Crosby and Malkin Crosby and Ovechkin were really first kind of coming into their own. And I had a buddy that was in a fantasy draft, and he had the number one pick. And he was bragging to us. We went to college together. He was bragging to us, oh, my gosh, guys, I'm taking Kovalchuk. He's going to score 100 points because this was back when players didn't score 100 points. And, oh, my gosh, you guys are going to get stomped. Day of the draft, he gets stoned before the draft. And he is, like, in the chat, like, just clearly not making sense. I'm like, okay, Brian's been hitting the wacky weed a little bit. And so he goes, so the draft starts, and first pick, Steve Konowalchuk. And instantly in the chat, you just see, no! We're like, what? And he was like, I had it arranged alphabetically, and I accidentally had it on Konowalchuk. And we're like, why would you ever have your draft arranged and sorted by alphabetical? At least if you've got it sorted like, top players, you're going to get somebody good. Like, oh, man, I didn't mean to draft Crosby. Oh, well, But, like, you picked Steve Kowalczyk, bro. What are you thinking?
The second time in history that Steve Kowalczyk went first in a fantasy draft, the other time was Steve Kowalczyk's kid picking him.
Yes.
It's a great story.
Also, planning to pick Ilya Kovalchuk and still accidentally picked his father. That was still to this day I remember I had the third pick, and by the time it got to me, my computer was sitting up on my desk and I was on the floor laughing. Like I couldn't control myself. And I heard the little dun, like it was your time to draft. And I'm like, I can't even focus right now. I'll just take highest available, because I'm like, oh my God, that was so funny. Still one of my favorite memories. All right. Let's talk about the opening night roster for the St. Louis Blues. So really, to me, and let me ask you, just give me a number. Don't say what it is. There's really kind of one surprise here for me. How about you? How many surprises do you when you see this roster?
One.
Yeah. So I think you agree. Who is it?
Kessel.
Me too. I told you guys at the preseason game I went to last week, I thought he looked awful. I saw him at training camp. He looked okay. He wasn't standout, but he was, which is, kind of what you want. We talked about it last week. We were all kind of like, yeah, we're kind of sour on Kessel at this point. Not going to say the Blues made the wrong pick here. Obviously, I'm not, they know more than I do. That was just kind of the one shock for me because I'm just like, really? Like, you know what you're getting in Kessel. Let's see what Loof can do. Let's see what even a Lindstein, who I didn't think had the best camp. Let's see what these guys can do. But they must have seen something in Kessel that made him say, you know what, he at least deserves to be on the opening 9 roster.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the 7th defenseman. He's been here before. He's, Skinner has no experience up here. So, it kind of makes sense, but at the end of the day, I think I would have preferred one of the younger guys. We've got so many younger guys coming up. Like if the worry was you don't want to lose Kessel to waivers and somebody's going to take him, is that really a big worry? Is it a big loss if you do, right? I think the risk of putting Hunter Skinner through waivers was probably bigger. And, they got burned with Ellis, trying to put him through waivers. But what are you going to do, right? You're not going to carry 3 goalies.
No.
So that one, that's understandable. I think I would have preferred Skinner to be the guy here. But
yeah, and
they want to give him time down there, right?
Yeah, I guess that's the point. Like at this point, Kessel doesn't. You don't need him to ripen. You don't need him to. Excuse me. You don't need him to go down to waiver or go down to Springfield, and let's see what Kessel can do. And I know what I said last week. I said, I'd like to see them say, "Hey, you are going to play in Springfield. You are going to prove to us you belong here. We are not calling you up until after the Olympic break. If you play well, we'll call you up." Like that's kind of what I wanted to see with him. But I guess I kind of get this too, because at this way, like you said, Hunter Skinner is going to go down to the AHL and he's going to play at least 20, 22 minutes a night. He's not going to get that time in St. Louis. He's going to get maybe 12 or 13 minutes if he even plays. I think Tyler Tucker has proven that he is more the guy than Matthew Kessel. So I think they're just kind of comfortable saying, okay, Kessel's our 7th. He'll do line rushes in practice. We'll get him out there if there's an injury or a last minute, like somebody's sick and we got to get somebody in there. So I get it. It's not that I don't get it. It's more that I just think I would have rather have seen them make a little bit more of a let's get somebody who really proved it to us in camp. And to me, obviously that name would be Hunter Skinner. But I get it. I understand. And again, if you're arguing that their big mistake was keeping up the 7th defenseman, you probably did some right things with your roster construction. So I'm okay with it. I just think it was just an odd. When I saw his name not go down, I thought, "Ooh, that's an interesting one." Yep. So
Nice. Sorry, Pavel Dorofeev just scored. So my fantasy night keeps getting better.
Good for you. D Brown SS says, I think Kessel is what he is. Skinner needs to play along with the other prospects. Kessel can sit in the press box. What is wrong with me? Give me 1 second.
No, while you're doing that, I will say I think that's exactly what it is, right? And it also will give them the opportunity if they're seeing something they don't like in Mayu's game to sit him, right? And say, watch for a couple games, figure it out. We got this other right hand shot defenseman that we can throw out there as our third pairing defenseman. It does kind of make sense when you think about it and not when you just don't like the guy like us. But yeah.
Yep.
The other guy, I think, and there's a comment in the chat about Tessier, right? Tessier, and the comment was Tessier made the squad because Lucic was too slow. And it was Justin that made the comment. I think Texier is probably going to be the guy out when Lucic comes back from his PTO or comes back for his in-season PTO after he rehabs whatever injury he has.
The only other name I could see going down instead of him would be Matthew Joseph. I could see them maybe saying Lucic. He doesn't have the speed that Joseph has, but he kind of plays a similar game, and Lucic just obviously does it better because he's been doing it for so long. But I think I agree with you. And I'll admit, I like Texier. I actually think he adds something to the lineup. But I think the problem is, and this is maybe why he played well in Columbus when he did, a name that he reminds me of, and people will probably laugh at this, is Michel Picard. If you remember that player.
Oh, yeah.
Michel Picard had some unbelievable hands. And for those of you wondering who that is, late 90s Blues player. Really did not play much, but man, when he was in the lineup, his hands were elite. I'm going to say it. They were elite. But his foot speed, his awareness, everything else just was not there. So for him, it was a matter of either you put him in your top 6 or you don't play him at all. But he was so slow that he couldn't keep up with the Pierre Turgeons and the Scott Youngs and the other players the Blues had at that time, Jim Campbell. He couldn't keep up with those players. So
couldn't keep up with Tony Twist.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I think Twist could probably take him in a race, which is saying a lot. So I think that's the same thing for Texier. Not that he's slow, but it's just that I think he's just a tick below the rest of the Blues' top 6. I think if you put Texier on, Buffalo, let's just say, I think he does great there. I think he's a guy that would, you put him in your top 6, he'd be an excellent winger on your second line, and he'd play every game. But for the Blues, where they're at, with the talent they have on the wings, there's just not room for him. And I think that, and again, he's not a player. He doesn't have the defensive stalwartness. He doesn't have the drive to play on a bottom 6 role. He is a top 6 forward on a bad team is where he slots in, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. D Browns says it pretty much the same thing, right? He's filling in the top 6, plays well with other skilled guys. He's not a bottom 6 player at all. Joseph can play the heavy bottom 6, just isn't consistent enough to stay in the lineup. I think Joseph is probably consistent enough to stay in the lineup. It's just not a coach's favorite. But yeah, I think, when we saw them try to force Tessier onto the third line last year, he would have shifts where it's like, okay, it looks like he's getting the defensive end of it. And then he's like, oh, but I like the offensive side, and cause a turnover, miss an assignment, going back up the ice. And, he's set another 5-6 games.
Yep, I agree. And Justin Scott kind of rounding this out for us. Texier is fine as a fill-in, but he can't consistently play for sure. Yeah, he's one of those guys to me where it's like you can kind of like a Matt D'Agostini, that year where the Blues had the horrible injuries, like just everyone got hurt, and D'Agostini stepped up and scored like 20, 22 goals or something. It was just like, whoa, where did this kid come from? Did we really trade Aaron Pelujai for him? And, then he fell flat on his face the next year. Just could not stay consistent, couldn't stay in the lineup. I think it's the same for Texier. I think it's a lot of like, yeah, he's good. And he definitely, we saw him score some skilled goals last year, but he's just not good and consistent enough to be a guy. And I'll admit, when the Blues got him last year, I was excited. I'm like, oh, that's a great pickup. And I still like him. It's just, I think as this team progresses, he's a guy that could fit in as your 13th forward, insert him in a top 6 role when you need to. But if they feel this strongly about Lucic, I do think he is definitely the guy that's going to go down. More news out of the Blues camp was that so they played all preseason with Pia Suter in between Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou. They pretty much all but said, and they being Jim Montgomery, that they're putting Schenn back in the middle of that line, which I think we all knew, but I think a lot of people thought, well, the way they look in the preseason, we got to keep them together. For me, I'm like, no, they're going to put Schenn back. I think they're just kind of seeing what they have in Suter as a number 2 center. I think at least to start the year, Schenn will be back in that spot, which he will be. So I like that move. I think, it worked for you last year. That was one of the most dynamic lines until Holloway went out. And, Schenn is a guy that, yes, he's getting older. Yes, he's not the supreme physical specimen that we saw a couple years ago. And, but, he's still got game. He's still a good player. And, you put him between those two very quick guys, he's going to still get the job done. He's going to forecheck and get them the puck, which is what you need. And I'm excited to see, because eventually you will see Suter slide into there. Coaches love the mix and match lines.
Mm-hmm.
That'll change throughout the year. But I do think starting the year with Schenn in the middle is probably a good idea between Holloway and Kyrou.
Yeah, I think, the opportunity for Suter to slot in once we hit the end of October, early November doldrums, and Montgomery's not happy with what he's seeing, hits the Ken Hitchcock shuffle machine, and we've got Thomas and Kyrou back together and trying other combinations. Schenn down to the third line, Suter to the second line, or even Suter on the wing, or Schenn on the wing. There are a million combinations that will get tried out, but I think the going back to the end of last season and all the regret we have about Dylan Holloway not being available during that first round series, how well he was playing with Schenn and Kyrou, they've got to put them out there and see if they can find that magic again. Snuggerud has slotted in perfectly on that first line in place of Kyrou. I love JR's bold prediction that Kyrou's going to be the guy that not Kyrou. Snuggy's going to be the guy that wins the Calder this year, right? I love that prediction. That would be amazing. And he looks like a veteran NHLer at this point. And I'm excited about it. But
yeah, so that looking at the lines, Snuggerud, as you said, top line with Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich. I think that's a pretty dang good line. And what's funny is, the way that we talk about lines in the NHL, and obviously you're talking about those two guys, those three guys getting a lot of playing minutes, but really I think we can all agree that that's kind of your default. We're going to play this line against the top line of the other team. But really, your top scoring line to me is the Holloway, Schenn, Kyrou line. But because Robert Thomas is our number one center, we always have to say that's the first line, which I totally get. So, but yeah, I love that. Well, and again, we kind of talked about it too. We saw Neighbors slide up into that top line last year, and he looked very comfortable, and I think he plays very well with Robert Thomas. So that's another guy that you could put up there. And the other guy we mentioned, the Blues, they picked up their two big forward acquisitions were centers this summer in Bukestad and Suter. So you mentioned Shen can play wing too. We've seen Holloway play center. We've seen Buchnevich play center. There are so many. This is like a coach's dream, being able to just be like, oh, Shen, you started the game at center. Second period, we had you on left wing. Third period, we're putting you on the right wing. That's coaches love being able to have that versatility in their lineup. So, kind of seeing that with these top six line, the top two lines, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. That's awesome and excited to see it. I will say, as much as I love the Holloway, Shen, and Kyrou line, a line of Neighbors, Shen, and Joseph, which I'm interested to see how much we saw that last year. I think that could be a really interesting third line.
Yeah, as a shutdown line with the potential for some goal scoring, man, that feels really good. Having Neighbors, like last year, we were like, kind of gnashing our teeth about where Neighbors would fit in, and is he top line caliber? And now we don't have to worry about that, right? He can bump up there and he can score. He's a very good NHLer at this point, but we have other guys to score the goals, and Neighbors can be, that focus on the defensive end of game, getting under guys' skin, and occasionally popping one in, right? There's not a ton of pressure on him as the third line guy to start the season. But if somebody else falters, he's the guy that'll step up and he'll be fine. And I love the idea of having a higher end PK guy like Suter should be. That's the Blues were so bad on the PK last year. We can only get better, right?
Yeah, that's the way I see it. Good Lord. I think that was because Bukestad can play. He's not known as a PK, but I think he's a guy that could step in on your PK too. So I do think that, and Mayu is a guy who has no problems kind of throwing bows and getting a little physical, getting guys out in front of the net. Maybe we see him on the PK, but yeah, that is definitely a focus for the Blues this year that I'll be watching how they perform on the PK, because like you said, can't get much worse than we saw last year. Ace 6583 Rob, which I believe is a new live listener. I thought for sure Suter would be second line center. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. And then you know what? I am going to give our comment of the show.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
And that is going to come from David G. And I believe that's also a new live listener. LGBTQ, Let's Go Blues, The Quest begins tomorrow night. Yeah, I like that. There you go. A lot of jokes with the LGBTQ. So, funny note, and I think I told you this earlier, that so we are possibly going to have a shoulder patch on the Stanley Ponder Cup Memorial Tournament jerseys for Let's Go Blues Radio. And because we are donating some money, and unbeknownst to you and Kurt, we are.
We are.
Yes. It's coming from the Ponder Fund, but it's in the name of Let's Go Blues Radio. And so I sent the logo name, and it was what Kurt named it. It was LGB Radio /trans.png. And my buddy saw it and was like, wait, what? Yep. LGB and trans. And I'm like, translucent, like the white around it is gone. So it's, translucent. And he's like, I'm sorry, transparent. My bad. Transparent. And And he's like, dude, come on, you got to laugh at that naming convention, though. And I'm like, yes, it is pretty funny.
Kurt probably
Yeah.
didn't think twice about it.
No, I guarantee he did not. All right. And then Justin Scott says, I'm going to the game tomorrow and I am hyped. I think we all are. I'm skipping my hockey game tomorrow night, which I don't like to do, but I don't care. I got to watch this game. This will be a big one. Excited for the season to finally come around. So a little bit of injury news from the Blues. Oscar Sundqvist is out to open the season. Jim Montgomery says it's not his knee or hip, so it's lower body, but it's muscle related. We know the target date when he'll be back. It's relatively soon. And then Armstrong added, quote, week to week is more like a week. But the good news for you, Bill, he will not be on the second power play unit to open the season.
Thank God. I'd love to see Suter get some time there to start it.
Yep.
But yeah, as long as it's not sunny.
And then, you know what? We're going to go ahead and read this comment here from Ace6583 Rob. I am fired up about the music change this year in the barn. Team coming out to kick start my heart. Yeah, that is actually our next point of conversation here. So they announced that there are new experiences at the Enterprise Center this season for the pregame show. There's a lot here, but basically it opens up to a brand new cover of Black Sabbath's legendary War Pigs. It's a German production team known for their cinematic remixes that made it, called T2WEI. The Blues partnered with longtime local rock station KC95 to celebrate St. Louis's shared roots in music and rebellion, and to honor the late Ozzy Osbourne, whose iconic Blues jersey photo has become part of team lore. This is one of the Blues execs. He said, someone mentioned Ozzy, and it just clicked. KC95 and the Blues share the same birthday. We came in at the same time. Ozzy's been tied to our history. War Pigs just felt right. It had the bite, the beat, and the energy we wanted. Once the song was locked in, the Blues teamed up with Cincinnati-based Fourth Floor Creative to bring it to life visually. The result was a massive 20-foot wall of real vintage speakers and a sweaty garage scene that could have been lifted straight out of a 1970s music video. The band featured on screen. St. Louis's own Raised on Radio, a group of local high schoolers, brought the vibe to life, performing inside a hazy, sweltering garage on one of the hottest days of the summer. The pregame show will roll straight into a rock montage of classics before the team storms the ice to Motley Crue's Kickstart My Heart, marking the Blues' first rock-themed entrance in over 15 years. The new pregame show begins immediately after the completion of warm-ups on opening night. Fans are encouraged to be in their seats at 6:30. So, yeah, obviously a big change to rock. And I saw that the Blues, what was the slogan that I think they put on the Enterprise Center? It's like here to rock, ready to roll or something. So they're fully going in on the whole rock thing, and the fact that they even called out that it's a tribute to Ozzy. I love it. Bill, I know you're a big music guy, so what do you think of this kind of change the Blues have as a more of a rock focus than jazz or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you want in an arena atmosphere for a sporting event, you want pump up music, right? You don't want fucking John Denver, right? You don't want sing along shit the entire time. I did love last year's Meet Me in St. Louis. Louis. I thought that was, the fact that they incorporated the symphony orchestra, that was great.
That was cool.
Having this transition now to, how many, all of us that play hockey, right? Everybody in the locker room gets pumped up to this kind of music, right? And the fact that we have, they're incorporating Ozzy, the year of his passing. I mean, I should have thought about it and busted out the hockey card painting that we got from Steven when he was on the show. That was such a beautiful thing. It's back here somewhere. I have a pile of stuff that I've been meaning to hang for 3 years and haven't done it. That's the one.
Mine. Yep.
That's the one. I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see the promo. They'll drop it on social media at some point tomorrow, and yeah, I will run it through the my surround sound system downstairs. Hopefully they'll put it out in Dolby Atmos. Sounds amazing. I am pumped for it. Just be consistent. I would ask, that they be consistent with, that through the season, and let's keep away from the John Denver shit. Sometimes the Saturday night games, they like to have the club atmosphere. That's not my thing either. Love to see them get away from that and stick with more of the classic hard rock stuff for the entire season. Make it a theme. Go all in on it. Jim Montgomery will be happy.
Yeah, I wonder if that was part of it, because Jim Montgomery seems like a big rock guy.
Mhm.
He was referencing songs like before every game last year, and I wonder if that was part of it. Like, hey, we know our coach is going to love this, so, and maybe he even had input. Maybe he was
Yeah.
like, hey, let's make sure we play this song, and and so the next thing here, the Blues apparently. We don't know what this entails. Hopefully we'll find out tomorrow, because hopefully it means the Blues will score a goal. They have a new goal celebration. They said fans can expect a totally new in-game experience this season with a redesigned graphics package and even a refreshed goal celebration, all part of the team's summer rebrand. And somebody asked here in the chat, I think I lost it, but somebody asked if they'll still be doing the Steve Ewing, the Urge Blues goal song. I have no idea. That's been the goal song now for 6 years.
Mhm.
And so I'm interested to see if that's something they continue to use. But he still fits. They're like ska punk kind of music. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
still
the Urge was total pump up music, right? It may not be the same genre, but it's pump up music, and that's what you want, right? I don't know. I would I would love it if like they pranked everybody, and the goal celebration. The first one they do is Steve Ewing with a hot dog cannon
yes, that would be
to
awesome.
right to the play that motherfucking Urge song. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and then Matt Harris, I don't know if this is true or not. He says, heard they're changing the victory song to Ram Ranch. Good lean into their history or heritage with that pick. I don't know if that's correct or not. That is unconfirmed reports from our friend in Tucson, Arizona. Tucson, right? Yeah, he's in Tucson. I don't know. He's in Arizona somewhere. It's all the same. And then we got Justin Scott saying, I want to hear some Alter Bridge, man. Matt Harris, I still dig the goal song. If they were to change it, I'd like to see a heavier rock cover of the same song. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Chris in the chat also says, I'm pumped. I think we all are. I'm excited to see what this is like. I do know, yeah, and Matt, I think Matt was trolling again. He said, wait, do we not know the song Ram Ranch? I'm not sure what that is. Do you know what that is?
I don't, except what I suspect it is bait.
It's got to be bait. I'll have to look it up. What is Johnny McGovern, Matt Harris? Have you ever seen Soccer Practice on YouTube by Johnny McGovern? One of my favorite music videos of all time. It is absolutely ridiculous, but it is hilarious, and I feel like you would get a kick out of it. Not safe for work, by the way. Anybody listening to that at work, wait till you get home to look up Soccer Practice by Mr. Johnny McGovern. And then Matt Harris says we need to look up the lyrics to Ram Ranch. Again, probably not safe for work. So again, if you're listening to this at work, please wait till you get home. New food offerings include Crumble Cookies, STL Kitchen, Rosalita's Cantina is getting a second location. Ramblin' Rounds is getting a new stand at Portal 11, and the Walk Stand will have a new menu, and they're also going to have a non-alcoholic cocktail of the game. And apparently this is going to rotate and it's going to change for every game. They're starting the first night with a blueberry mojito with a blueberry syrup, club soda, mint, and a blueberry skewer. Later in the month, the Ginger Rose Fizz will debut. Okay, so maybe it's not every game. Maybe it's they'll have one for a couple games and then switch it. That one features a rose syrup, lemon juice, and ginger ale topped with an edible flower. Additionally, the number of non-alcoholic beer options has doubled from 3 to 6, available at Schnucks grab-and-go locations and select beer carts. So if you're one of those that enjoy the non-alcoholic beer, which I've got a friend who has completely sworn off alcohol, and he loves a non-alcoholic beer. He says it feels and tastes like you're drinking alcohol. So apparently they've made some huge steps in that way, because I know back in the day when I had O'Doul's, I'm like, what is this garbage? So might be an option for you, Bill, if you're interested.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't sworn it off. It's not necessarily about the booze part of it. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it one a go. There's discussion about Chelsea Dagger in our chat, and we need to end that right now. I'm going to say that it has officially now jumped the shark, because Chelsea Football Club has adopted it. They're one of the first teams that's doing a goal song in the Premier League. That's just so cliche. I hate it. Doesn't help that they beat Liverpool, but that's another story for another day.
Justin Scott mentions my winning streak at games. He says no one has got Jeff a season ticket yet. No, my brother did get full season tickets this year, about 7 rows behind Bennington, so first and third periods. And I probably will be going to a fair amount of games this year, but no, I do not have season tickets. So anybody wants to just give me season tickets, I'm more than happy to accept. So just keep that in mind. Real quick, we'll finish up the show here talking about the Minnesota Wild game on Thursday, coming up tomorrow night. This is Tarasenko's first official game as a member of the Wild, and it is just funny that his first game will be at Enterprise Center. Likely Wild Lines has him with which one is that? That's Marcus Foligno, correct? On Minnesota?
That is correct.
Yep. And Joel Eriksson Ek on the second line. Well, obviously the first line will be Kaprizov, Rossi, and Boldy. This team, we talked about them a lot last week. I'm not sold on them. I could see them getting off to a really nice start, but I just do not see this team in the playoffs by season end. Maybe I'll eat my words, but I think this is a nice, good matchup for the Blues. I think the Blues, Wild, Predators, Jets, I think all those teams, they finish very closely, I think, in the standings at the end of the year. And I do think that the Blues do come out on top of those teams in the third seed. But still a good matchup for the Blues. I think this is a very evenly distributed matchup that they'll be facing in game one.
Yeah. That Minnesota, where, look at their defensive setup, though, right? They've got Middleton as top line with Faber. I have to imagine, I'm pretty big on Zeev Buyam. Watching him play at Denver last year, he was amazing. If he translates that to the NHL, I'm pretty sure Middleton won't be getting top line minutes very long. Middleton was very effective against the Blues last year. I'm just not sold on him as a top pairing guy. But yeah, I don't know. Is Brodin hurt, or is he just fallen that far down the pecking order?
I got to imagine he's hurt because he was still serviceable. I mean, he wasn't bad last year by any means. Yeah. I just think he's got to be hurt. They got him on the really? Yeah, they do. They got him on the last pit, so the fourth pairing, basically.
Right.
Let me take a look here, because I would be shocked. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, it looks like he is hurt.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be available for Thursday. So I guess he was doing line rushes on the fourth pairing to see if he's ready. So we'll see. Might be a game time decision.
Yeah. You got to think that, Middleton as your top line guy is not a long-term thing. I honestly, I have not paid much attention to Minnesota in the preseason. But yeah, that's shocking. But yeah, if Zeev Buium is the real thing, we're going to be in trouble long term with him and Faber, and they are going to be a probably top 5 defensive pairing in the league in a couple of years.
I agree. Everything I've heard about that kid is he is going to be, obviously Cale Makar is the ceiling, but there's no, I don't think he touches him, but he is going to be a very good defenseman in the Central Division for the Blues have to battle for many, many years, unfortunately. So we'll see. But yeah, him paired with Spurgeon, I think is a good call. Give him a nice veteran presence out there that can really, kind of help coach him even during games. So good call by them, but we'll see how he looks tomorrow. Well, next up for the Blues, again, Thursday, they will play the Minnesota Wild. And then on Saturday, they take to the road. They will play an afternoon showcase with the Calgary Flames at 3 o'clock. And these are Central Time, obviously. Monday, they will play the Vancouver Canucks at 6:30. And then Wednesday, they play back in St. Louis. They play at 8:30 against Chicago. I'm guessing that's for ESPN coverage.
TBS,
is my guess.
TBS TNT, right?
TBS,
There's TNT for the Wednesday night game. ESPN's got Tuesday still.
Yep, that's true. Yep, I forgot. It's only been a couple months, and my mind is already gone. By the way, that whole Western Canada swing, we have fun words for Calgary and Vancouver. We need one for Edmonton. There's got to be a fun way to say Edmonton, right? Edmonton. I don't know. I'll come up with something.
McDavidville.
I was going to say McDavid Land. So yeah, we're on the same page. Well, let's get into some rapid fire NHL tidbits. Speaking of Edmonton, let's go ahead and go there. They did lock up Connor McDavid to a 2-year, $25 million contract extension. That is a $12.5 million AAV. McDavid said, quote, "It's about winning. That's always what I've preached. No one has to talk about it anymore," talking about his contract, basically saying, stop talking about it. I'm signed. Let's focus on the season. I like that approach. I like that he definitely took he definitely took a pay cut. But the Oilers also took a cut in terms of years. They were wanting to lock him up for 8 years. After this contract extension is up, the highest they can sign him to is 7 years. 8-year contracts are a thing of the past after this season. So, Edmonton doesn't like that. But I do think that this is, I actually, a lot of times it's lip service with players. I actually believe McDavid that he's like, we've gotten there 2 years in a row and we cannot get over the hump. Pay me a little bit less so we can just give me a Stanley Cup and then we'll talk about long term. And I actually think that is pretty commendable of him. I don't know. Maybe you disagree, but I like that approach for him. I think it does show. I just want to win. And I think a lot of it's too is probably the talk that he hears from everyone. Oh, McDavid's not good enough to get his team over the hump. I'm sure he's tired of hearing that. So it's just let's get a cup, then lock me up full term, either with you or somebody else.
Right. Spend this money on a goalie, please.
Yes. No, instead they went out and got Jake Wallman.
They already had him. It's just an extension, right?
Yep.
Oh, hey, look, my fantasy team gets another goal, a power play goal from Pavel Dorofeev. How about a hat trick on opening night?
I've got Oilers and Flames on right now, so I'm not watching that one. Ooh, but
they started with the Battle of Berta.
They did.
I did not notice that.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I've been watching this whole game. So they're second intermission right now, so you're not missing anything, which I may just go ahead and turn on. You said the Golden Knights are on? Yeah, there we go. Oh, Kings are beating them. Good. Boy, Kings look bad in their opener. Woo.
Yeah.
You watched that. Colorado stomped them.
Yeah, they've got Anton Forsberg in net because Kempfer is still recovering from that beating last night.
Yep. If they don't win Edmonton, I think Justin Scott means McDavid walks if they don't win. Yeah, I agree. Matt
No,
Harris says
he owns that town. The rest of the town has to leave.
the whole city is going to walk.
It's McDavidville.
Matt Harris says, speaking of Edmonton, boy, those new alternates are nice. Yeah, I like those too. I thought they were pretty good looking.
Yeah.
Did you see the Kings?
Yeah, I was going to say, as script jerseys go, I love the Oilers ones. The Kings, that they're, to me, they're nice, but they're stealing from the Knights with the fabric, right?
Yeah.
The glitter fabric.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a fan, to be quite honest. I mean, they're okay. They're not the worst jerseys in the world, but not a fan.
And the silver buckets, come on, let's stop it already.
I'm hating that. The silver buckets, the gold buckets for
Vegas,
the Golden Knights. Oh God, it's terrible. Ugh, not a fan. Well, speaking of contract extensions, here in the Central Division, the Winnipeg Jets signed Kyle Connor to an 8-year, $96 million contract extension. That is $12 million AAV. The 28-year-old Connor appeared in all 82 regular season games last year and posted 41 goals with 56 assists for a career-high 97 points. Bill, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe of those 97 points, 96 came against the Blues.
96.5 actually.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he got that half assist on a Scheifele goal against the Flyers. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and somehow he also assisted on a Ryan Hartman goal.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but it happened.
No, I hate seeing this guy stay in the Central. People were talking about, is Hellebuck going to move on? Are we going to see other guys start to leave Winnipeg? I'm like, I don't give a shit about Connor Hellebuck. I care about the Kyle Connor extension. And I thought, man, if there's a chance he leaves, that would be fantastic. But clearly that is not happening. So we are going to have to face the Winnipeg Jets, I think 4 times this year. And I'm sure Kyle Connor will have at least 4 goals.
Per game.
Yes, per game. Man, I still stand by, and I know as a Blues fan, when I see him, he's going to score because he's playing the Blues. I still look at that final Four Nations face-off game against Canada, and he was a healthy scratch. What are you thinking? Kyle Connor is one of the most is the way that puck just gets off his stick so quick. You need that, and to not play him in a final game because he's got good playoff numbers too. What are you thinking, USA? Good Lord, that better not happen in the Olympics.
Yeah, that's a lesson that has to have been learned.
Ace 6583 Rob chimes in again. There's no way Hellebuck starts first game here. No way. I'm going to disagree. This is regular season Hellebuck. He's going to be fine. It's just a matter of when the playoffs start, if the Blues play the Jets again, that is an actual conversation the Jets are going to have.
Dorofeev hat trick.
Nice. I'm not there yet.
Man,
is that at the end of the second?
It's 45 seconds left to go.
Yep. A minute left.
This night's power play, oh my God, it is way too scary. Way too scary. Eichel and Marner passing it to Dorofeev. Yeah.
D Brown SS adds Kyle Connor and Clayton Keller single-handedly kill us. Yeah, and again, like, it's funny. Like, my brother was laughing at me last year when he was heading down to the Utah game, and we were just talking, and I'm like, yeah, Blues are probably going to get killed. And he's like, Utah, really? And I'm like, dude, they got Clayton Keller. That dude's going to put up 7 points tonight, and I think he ended up having 4. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, for some reason, the Blues cannot contain guys like Keller and Connor. It's obnoxious. Yep, there's all the hats. I'm seeing it now. Well, congratulations, Bill. What a night for you.
Yeah. 14 points on his own.
Yep.
Suck it, Vegas Blues fan.
We are. Yeah, apparently, Bill, you told me this before the show. In your fantasy matchup, you're facing someone we all know and Will we all know, Vegas Blues fan.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. And I mean it's second night of this thing, and I think it's a 2-week first matchup, so I shouldn't talk too much smack, but I'm feeling pretty good right now.
That's a beautiful shot from Georgiev too.
God, he had 38 goals last year. He's gonna put up 60 this year. I hope. My fantasy team hopes.
Oh. Wow. Okay, so this really is a new live listener, A6583 Rob. I can't freaking believe as much blue stuff I watch that your channel has never come up. It's awesome here. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. Yeah, we weekly shows. We record typically on Wednesday nights. Probably a good time to mention next week, as we said, the Blues do play at 8:30 against the Chicago Blackhawks. So we will be doing a show. We're planning on Tuesday at 9:30. That might change. Stay tuned with us on social media. We'll make sure that we keep you updated. But yeah, we're thinking Tuesday is the best day for us to do a show. Yeah, 9:30. Make sure you follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. Blue Sky, LGB Radio at most platforms, but for Facebook, I know if you just search Let's Go Blues Radio, will pop up. But yeah, we do weekly shows. Also, Rob, I'll let you know, check out the Let's Go Blues Minute wherever you get podcasts. It's a couple times a week. I post just whatever, or I podcast whatever big Blues news is going on, and I end up, it's like I said, 2, 3, 4 times a week, and just kind of a rundown of what's happened in the past 24 hours, and just provide game previews, that kind of stuff. So check us out wherever you get podcasts. Let's Go Blues Minute, and make sure you smash that subscribe button for both shows. And yeah, happy to have you. Thanks for joining us, and tell your friends. That's how we grow. We've been here 15 seasons, Bill. 15 seasons.
Yes.
Never thought that would happen.
Yeah. I mean, I've been along for 2/3 of that, and I didn't think I would last this long. So it's pretty damn amazing. But yeah, love that you started the LGB Minute last year. It is anybody can fit that into their commute, even if you live right next door to where you work, you can fit it into your commute. It's so perfect.
I've actually told people, if you work from home, you can actually fit it into your commute still. All you got to do is let's say you work in the basement like me, literally out of bed, making breakfast, come downstairs. In that time, you've heard that day's episode of the Let's Go Blues Minute. So check it out. Yeah, thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. It's unfortunate we don't have Puck Doku as a sponsor this year. Shout out to our sponsor this year, Mid-States Hockey. I will say it was fun today when I filmed and I kind of, went through all the Mid-States stuff that I wanted to talk about. It's kind of fun, talking about oh yeah, we, I even said my alma mater, Francis Howell, Bill's alma mater, CBC. And then I kind of ran through a couple other schools that we'll talk about throughout the year. And it was like, this is going to be fun. I do love some high school hockey. My buddies all have kids in middle school and high school, and they all play hockey. And every now and then I'll make it out to a game. And actually, by the way, I may be going out Friday night to Edwardsville if you don't have plans.
Yeah, let me know. I was thinking about that. I am tied up till about 6 o'clock, but free after that. So,
yep. Yeah. It's, so yeah, for those of you who might be interested, Edwardsville and Oakville are doing a Hockey Fights Cancer out in Edwardsville, RP Lumber Ice Center, on, I think it's at 7:45 Friday night. So I'm thinking I'm going to go out there. I think that could be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm going to try to make it out there, but Bill is very close to there. I'm in South County. So for me, it's really not that far. It's like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But for you, it's right down the road, right?
Yeah. Straight shot up 255 for you. It's straight shot 157 for me. So I think the one time I played there, I timed it. It was 9 minutes.
Nice.
House
Yeah.
to
I'm
Spark
7 minutes from the Shark Tank. That is so nice to have. It's like whenever somebody's like, "Hey, you want to skate at the Shark Tank?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome." So, I mean, shit, I can almost walk home. So, anyway, well, we've got a couple more comments I want to get to, and then we will close up. So, first of all, we've got Cape Core 72. Jeff, do you have a lot of games recorded or just the ones on your YouTube? I've been looking for a certain game. Reach out to me. I've got a couple contacts I could do. If you want to email me, jponder94@gmail.com, or just
slide
message
into
me.
his DMs.
Slide into my DMs anywhere on social media. Let me know what game that is. I can try to find it for you. I do have I'd say 99% of my games are on my YouTube channel. But sometimes YouTube's like, hey, you can't post that game for whatever reason. So I do have a couple that are not on there. So let me know what game that is. And then Ace6583 Rob, speaking of cancer, any word on Chase? He's doing well from what I've heard. He's they actually, I don't know if you saw, him and Holy are doing a podcast now. They're doing it's called The Ice Guardians, like the movie they were in. So
I did not see that.
I think they actually just recorded their first episode. So for anyone interested, check out The Ice Guardians. That's Kelly Chase and Brett Hall, I believe. I think I don't think it was just like a one-off. I think it's like they're going to start doing a podcast together, which is, pretty cool. So check that out. And then we've got, I wanted to end on this. Okay, here we go. We got a new live listener. NEDE Ninja 420F. Chaser and Twister were on a podcast together recently. Haven't watched yet, but I'm sure they give an update. Yeah. Again, if you check out Ice Guardians, I'm sure they give an update. We will end on this comment. Justin Scott, score predictions tomorrow, boys. As we say on the show, we are not a big fan of predictions. You never know what's going to happen. But, I'll give a prediction. Why not? I'll say 3-1 Blues. And I think Jordan Kyrou has 2 goals. Bill.
I'll go 4-2 Blues. And Ryan Hartman has both Minnesota goals. And 5-minute major for something stupid. Dylan Holloway has a hat trick, and empty net goal.
Wow.
Empty net goal for Jordan Biddington, getting revenge on Philip Gustafson for last year.
Love it. I love it. All right. I think that'll do it for the episode. Bill, good show. Good to be back full time. Remember, folks, again, we'll be back every week, typically on Wednesdays at 9:30. If you want to join us and chat with us. Otherwise, we will be we'll be doing a show. The Blues play that night. We may do a pregame or postgame show depending on the time, but Tuesdays, Thursdays, we typically will record on one of those nights. It sounds like next week the best night for all of us will be Tuesday. But again, stay tuned to us on social media. We will let you know. Well, thanks to our incredible sponsor, strikewithmike.com. That'll wrap up episode 2 of season 15 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio, and follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and even Twitch. For Kurt Price and Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, beat Minnesota. Let's go Blues.
Hockey's back, baby. Let's go Blues.
TV talking St. Louis Blues hockey, moving fast, can't catch the beat, skates on fire, ice on defeat. Kurt Jeffenbill